Welcome, dear viewer, to another tutorial on how to play and level up Grom and the Greenskins a bit in general. And we are going to specifically focus on why Grom is one of the strongest lords in Total Warhammer 3, particularly for the Greenskins, and how to level him and his technology up so you can become OP and fat just as Grom the Paunch. And of course, leave a sub and a comment, because we'll have a discussion video like this about every week, maybe twice a week, depending on the feedback. I mean, the last video got quite a lot of feedback. Alright, anyway, YouTube is a marathon, I've heard. So, today we're going to talk about why Grom is OP. We're going to talk about Lord and campaign effects, how to skill Grom, how to tech him up and technology, having a look at the special mechanic, the Cauldron, the Scrap, and why he has the most OP Gobbos of all time. So, all being said, let's get going. So first we're having a look at his campaign effects and what is good and what's not, because there's so many skills. It's hard to tell, particularly for new players, because there's so much going on. I mean, there's like a million races once you've got Total Warhammer 1, 2 and 3. It's just insane. So for the faction effects, you begin with the Grom's Cauldron. Seems small here, but this is really huge. This will help you make your Gobbos OP to an unbelievable extent. Diplomatic relations -80 with high elves is basically really uninteresting, and global recruitment duration -1 for goblin units also kind of meh, forget about that. Same with the leadership +10 when fighting elves. Okay, it's a nice bonus to kill Tharion the Grim, which is your first quest in the campaign, but the really nice one is the physical resist 10% for goblin units, because this is only the first 10% bonus. You'll get up to almost 40% physical resist. It's like goblin ghosts or something. Upkeep -50% for chariots and palm wagons is not really that great. Don't recruit them, they're currently not really good. Creative Assembly tends to struggle a little bit with their chariot design. Sometimes they're really great, sometimes they kind of suck, and like there's almost never an in-between. Grom's War is of course the war ability of Grom, which is good. His starting army, just to get that over, also with is 2 regiments of trolls, ranged Era boys, goblins, snottling palm wagons, and rock lovers, which is a nice combination. So you got ranged, you got monstrous units, you got artillery, and that's pretty okay, I think, for the beginning. So now let's go into the campaign itself. Jumping into the campaign, you begin at the massive Orcal, which is a nice starting location, so it's basically already a full one city province that you own, but we're not going to go into too much detail about that. Instead, we'll click right onto Grom and see his melee and basically character stats, which is good armor, it's a good leadership, nice speed, melee attack and melee defense are okay, nothing special. Weapon strength is also okay for a Lord, 140 armor piercing, bonus versus infantry, charge bonus of 90 is good, but the best thing he has is his regeneration, and the missile resist is also, of course, very, very nice. And right away you see that he has an additional trait, Starving Gobbo, so when you cook recipes from his Cauldron, which we'll go into later, will give you even leadership buffs for your goblin units, +5, +8 relatively quickly. And you also get +75 unit experience per turn, but this you get only when you level your first Inspiring Presence. And now we're going to have a look how to level Grom, because there's a very clear-cut way, in my opinion, how you can reach your OP Gobbos as fast as possible. So first level up goes into Inspiring Presence for the experience per turn, which is nice, but not really that amazing. But the next 3 level ups have to go into the Gobbos, no doubt about it, and no discussion, in my opinion at least, because you'll get +6 melee attack and defense for your Gobbos, and your ranged goblin units get more ammunition and missile strength. Usually, your Lord buff for the army buffs your ranged units or your melee units, but this buffs them both at the same time, which is just absolutely insane. No doubt about it. Go with the first 4 levels here into Inspiring Presence and the Gobbos. Then for the 5th skill you may go into Route Marcher, which is okay, and then for level number 6, after you already have +6 melee attack and +6 melee defense. You can go into down to size, available at rank 6, which gives you another +6 melee attack for 1 skill point, and against infantry +10 bonus versus large for goblin units. So yeah, it's pretty nice. It's pretty nice stuff. So then the next skill you want to work towards is the Goblin Tide, available at rank 10. And now you can, in my opinion, skill a little bit more freely. You should definitely fill up the red bar, so you can, also don't fill it out completely, but go into 3 additional skill points, maybe go into the buffs for the trolls, which is okay. I mean, the others, they're really not that great compared to the Gobbo skill, but going to the Baglets is not too bad in my opinion, to reach language of the boys, and afterwards the Sneaky Stabbers, giving you the next almost insane buff to your goblins, an additional 10% physical resist for your goblins and night goblins, also 12% weapon strength and 5 leadership. So yeah, it's pretty strong, and once you got that, you can get your Goblin Tide. That's not the Vermin Tide, it's the Goblin Tide. Gives you another +6 melee attack for your goblin units and +15 armor this time. So yeah, it's pretty tough. So your goblins already have plus. Let's just focus on the melee attack, because it gets too much. I give you a list of the buffs you get for your goblins in the end. So you get +6 melee attack here, another +6 here is +12, and you get another 6 here. It's already +18. And if you take this one, you get a physical resist. So really relatively quickly at level 10, which is reachable in maybe turn 20 or 30 with GROM THE PAUNCH. If you fight a lot, you get insanely strong Gobbos. So these are the first one. Oh, and then of course, when you're rank 12, you may also want to level up his Great Immensity, giving you +12 leadership bonus for goblins. Because why not? I mean, what are Iron Breakers if not little green long-nosed creatures with shields? Something like that, I guess. So far, how to skill Grom. If you're going away from the Gobbos, want to skill something else, basically, maybe you can skill Grom himself for 8% physical resist, roll him over or something like that. But everything else is just really a sideshow compared to his Gobbo skills. I mean, go for the campaign skills here in the blue one. Reduce the upkeep, that's nice. Renowned and Feared is also nice, but feel free basically with anything else here. So next, let's go into the technology of Grom, because here we've got some really nice combinations that you can level up really quickly to make your Gobbos even more OP. So you're beginning here at the wall, which is a necessary prerequisite to do anything else. And then you can go into, well, what are we talking about? Gobbos, yeah, that's right. Gobbos, giving you +2 leadership, -5% upkeep, +2 melee attack, and +10% missile strength. Then you can go into use them, giving you +7 armor for the goblins, and another +5% missile strength, and then abuse them for another +3 melee attack for the goblins, a bit of more speed, a bit of more charge bonus, which is nice. Then, okay, the Gobbo Crackdown is not really that great, gives you Gobbos a 10% infantry speed, at least, which is okay. And you can go, of course, also here to the top for Sharper Stabbers, giving you another +3 melee attack for goblins and night goblins. Also unlocks scrap upgrades, which are also going to buff us further later on. So, but apart from Sharper Stabbers, you want to go with the middle path. Use them, Gobbos, abuse them, Gobbo Crackdown, then Egg 'em on, because this gives you another 3% leadership for you goblins, because they're going to be into Iron Breaker territory here regarding leadership, but they're also getting another 5% physical resist. So you remember, the Grom basic skill already got him 10%, then from his level up you get another about 10% or 12%, I think, then here you get another 5%, and this stacks all up. And well, if you like, you can go on second thought, giving you Vanguard deployment for your goblins and a reduced upkeep, because why not just do that? And basically, apart from that, the other skills are not that important for your goblin great army. I mean, when you choose your skills, both for your lord and the technology you're skilling for, always pick the skills that you think will either win you the campaign or stop you from losing the campaign, which usually is leveling your units, because otherwise you lose the battles, which is the one thing that can lose you the campaign. And and you want to skill things that make the most number of units in your army better. So skilling your legendary lord alone, I mean, just buffs one unit with a bit of melee attack. That's really not that great. But if you have 1,000 goblins in your army and all of them get +3 melee attack, well, that's a whole different story. And that's why you want to make your Gobbos, which have really many models, as OP as possible. And that's why skill like Stone Armor, giving 10% physical resist for rogue idols, it's basically crap, because how many rogue idols will you have? Not that many. I mean, maybe in turn 150 when you're building rogue idol doom stacks, but in that case you've won the campaign anyway. But you want to particularly live through the challenging initial phases using these level ups. So much for how to do the big thinking with Grom. Let's go into the next one, and that is probably the most interesting mechanic that we have here for Grom. And I think these special mechanics make a faction much more interesting, and that is for Grom the Paunch, his Cauldron. The Cauldron, how does it work? You can throw up to 4 ingredients into that Cauldron and get a buff for, I think it's 15 turns. You get a buff, and yeah, you can change the recipe every 10 turns if you like. Well, when you meet a meat or recipe merchant, like that's one of the troll witches, well, you can get a random recipe into your Cauldron and get some new recipe or new ingredient. But yeah, you might want to do that when you're not really incredibly busy and want to fill it up. But particularly you want to basically do it until you have the recipes and the ingredients you really want, and then just cook the same thing over and over, because this makes you insanely OP. So we're beginning here. We're going through each of these ingredients. So you can unlock 4 slots by having sufficient food merchant challenges completed, which is nice. So, but you're beginning with one of the best already, which is troll meat. And that is the stuff that Grom himself consumed to grow up to his paunchiest size, let's say like this. Here's the passive ability Regeneration for goblins and night goblins, which is nice. That's really nice. You should always take that, except if you really don't intend to fight any battles at all. But this is really nice. So next one, you can get lizard legs if you want to have a bit more armor for goblin cavalry, goblin chariots, goblin cavalry. Just forget that. Never do that. It's just completely useless. Just like lion meat, increasing your speed, whatever, or charge bonus. It's like, what do you want to do with that? Nothing, basically. Just like passive ability Berserk could be nice if you have other armies with lots of orcs, and it's okay, but I really know. Don't do it. Just do the Gobbos with Grom, with all armies. It's best. Then you've got immense power for rogue idols. What do you want to do with it? You've got almost none of those. Don't do it. Then, well, things you can do to get more units in the recruitment pool is here, like Spider Egg Yolk, giving you 5 Spider Rider archers, which is nice, and Maternal Instinct to summon spiderlings with your Ragnarok Spider units. But do you have one? Beginning answer is no. So yeah, also kind of pointless. But what is great? Ghostly Protection, it is not. Monstrous Disease is also not. And Doubt Sense is also not that great. So Stuntier don't. It's basically just, if you want to have fun, you have nothing else, just do it. Goldfish, don't do it. Tentacles, but here we go to Hard Shell Crab. Now, that is one you want to take as fast as possible. You want to get to as fast as possible, giving you another 12% physical resistance for your goblins and night goblin armies. So you remember we already got like plus 20 or 22 or 23 from other skills, so now you have reached I think 37% physical resist when you got your research and your level ups and your Grom skill up. Then 37%, that's pretty nice in combination with that one. What do you have then? You can get 5 super squigs for the pufferfish. Also the passive ability spiky skin, which could be okay. You may want to pick that. It gives you +6 melee defense for your goblins, which is okay. But when you have nothing else, you may do that. Then you've got green spores for more growth. Could be in the beginning of the campaign. This is quite nice. And or the hell pepper shrooms. That's also a good one because it gives you passive ability frenzy for goblins and night goblins, and frenzy gives you +8 melee attack again and +10% weapon damage for your goblins and night goblins, which is pretty nice. And the fire resistance, I don't know, it exists, right? It's there. And basically, then you get the dragon tail. So the lower ones, the flying goblins, is the buff for your ranged units, particularly your ranged gobbos. And here you want to just pick the dragon tail. That's great. The other stuff is really dependent on the situation, maybe useful, but dragon breath is almost useful because now your gobbos shoot with explosive missiles, which is just absolutely crazy. It's absolutely crazy. All the other stuff like Harpy Teeth, the Eagle Sight, or Hollow Bone, or Phoenix Fire ammunition does not compare. So I recommend getting as fast as possible the troll meat. Where's the other thing? The hardshell crab. Definitely these two. These are primary regeneration and 12% physical resist. And then you may want to go hell pepper shrooms in combination with dragon tail. And you put these 4 into your cauldron, cook them, and then you've got your insanely strong gobbos. How to get them? Well, basically, I don't know myself. I would have to look it up on the Warhammer wiki as well. What's it? Dragon trail. Win a battle against an army containing a dragon, wyvern, or frostworm. There's a lot of advertisements going around. Hell pepper shrooms. Recruit night goblin fanatics. This should be simple enough. The puffer squig. Win a battle against an army containing bloated corpse. Hard shell crab. That's great. Sail and explore the sea or Saga vampire coast settlement, which should be easy enough. You can do that really quickly. And yeah, that's basically it. That's the hard shell crab. So basically, you're just going fishing into the sea for the hard shell crab. Should be, yeah. It's just nothing. Sail and explore the sea. Do it quickly. The spiky skin and the hell pepper shrooms. They're the good ones. Recruit night goblins fanatics. Yeah, it's easy enough, right? These are not recipes you have to take. You need a long time to get them. So you get really good ones right from the start. So now that's not all. In addition, we have the scrap. Oh, that is unfortunately relatively quickly, so you need to research that in the big thinking tree. Go to Sharper Stabbers to unlock the scrap upgrades, buffs your goblins of course as well for your goblins, and then you can choose the scrap upgrades to give you another +25 armor. You can also go with spiky weapons, which is okay, but I think you don't. You may pick it. You may mix and match that, but yeah, if you want to have more fun, maybe you want to go for scrap armor, giving you a +25 bonus for the armor of your goblins. So when you've got all of that, you have now that's basically the reason why we have the most OP gobbos ever. So you have leveled Grom and buffed your gobbos here, and with Goblin Tide and down to size and stuff and whatnot. Then you have done the big thinking to buff your gobbos even more, and then you're going to Grom's Cauldron, which is insanely buffing your gobbos even more. And we of course do the scrap upgrades, and we didn't even talk about that the gobbos level up themselves. But now you've got +15 armor and +7, and with the scrap +25, giving you a bonus of 47 armor, bringing your goblins up to armor of 72. So that's Dwarven Warrior area already, which is kind of nice. You get lots of leadership buffs, reaching up to 89 leadership for your goblins, which is definitely Dwarf Warrior, or even it's probably Iron Breaker territory. Your melee attack buffs add up to a total of +34. And now if you add +9 for the level 9 level 9s. The Gobbos will reach relatively quickly. You're looking at plus 34 melee attack, giving your Gobbos 63 melee attack. That's pretty nice for 160 models. 75 gold per turn. Of course, at +10 bonus versus large, because of course, why not? Melee defense is not the strongest buff you have. It's only +6 naturally from the level ups. Of course, you can also level when you have +9, you've got +15. It's not that great, but it is. The defense situation is improved by having 37% physical resist with all the combinations you got. Missile strength and weapon strength, we're not going into too much detail. I think you've got about 20% buff of your weapon strength, going up to about 30 or 35. It's not that great, but you've got so many units and so much melee attack, won't matter too much. Also, don't forget you've got Vanguard deployment, and you've got regenerating Gobbos, regenerating Gobbos as well. And yeah, so they're pretty insane. It's just what you're doing with GROM the Paunch and the campaign. You're just building incredibly cheap goblins and goblin archers, because don't forget they've got explosive arrows to demolish anything, and basically you don't really need that much armor piercing with your normal goblin units anyway, because you've got your goblin archers which are doing the armor piercing and the bonus versus large thing. So yeah, just do that. Just do that. It's enough. And for the campaign, I mean, the wood elves usually don't come out except if you have the end game event really quickly with the wild hunt, and they come out and kill you. But apart from that, just kill the Bretons in the south, kill the Bretons in the north of Grom, and then you may want to go to Eltharion, the Grim here in Lutheran Toivres. He cannot stop you. It's just he's completely useless. You've got a full stack of 20 elite Gobbos, you'll just overrun him relatively easy. Just make sure Grom is not killed while doing that. You may also want to go here into the south to get to Estalia, where we'll have soon the Dogs of War DLC, and with soon I mean maybe in a year or something, when Creative Assembly has fixed their game at some point. I mean, they're working on it, and it's a lot better than during release, so I'm also starting to play it again. But there's still a bit to go there, in my opinion. And that's it. I hope you liked this video. If you want to have an analysis of another lord and their advantages and drawbacks, put into the video. I mean, we did not really talk about the drawbacks of GROM the Paunch, and his drawbacks are he has no magic, which is a drawback definitely. He has no bonus versus large. But before I forget it, you can do his quests, making him a much more capable melee combatant with a lucky banner, giving you ward save and 40% damage resistance for 25 seconds, or even more melee defense for your army, and the Axe of Grom to buff your armor. So you basically do hit and run with GROM the Paunch, and just pull him through enemy units. Don't get stuck too much, but with 100 armor and regeneration, he usually lives, particularly when you're fighting against the AI. I mean, against the human player, you may want to be really careful with Grom, but then against the human player in multiplayer, you usually have Lucky Banner and Axe of Grom, and then it's not that much of a problem anymore. Buffs your melee, arm pacing weapon quite a bit. So, and that's it. If you want to level up your city, I mean, I didn't do the city yet. Let's jump right into this city leveling. So what do you want to do? Of course, level up your growth as fast as possible. So I suggest going for the idols relatively quickly, because you need that growth to go up to at least Greenskin encampment with your growth, because then you can get the stone troll quarry for more income and even more growth, which is nice. You definitely want to do that. Apart from that, maybe you may want to go for Wolfden to get some goblin archers, but basically and to run down enemy fleeing units, which is the main use for these units, because your main unit type is going to be goblins and goblin archers, which you have from level 1. So depending on your difficulty, you may also want to go for a boss tent to buff your control, otherwise you have to go back and squash rebellions all the time, which, I mean, it's also income if you want to have that. Come for the pile of shiny stuff relatively quickly, but leveling Grom settlement is pretty easy in my opinion, because you got your best unit already from the start, so you don't need to go in any kind of tech tree. Maybe you want to go to Shaman's Hut, so you get some mages, and they're always nice for the extra damage, but since your Gobbos are OP, they will demolish everything. It's also not that important, so the armies are a little bit simplistic here with Grom, but it's actually fun. Yeah. And that's from Hamster. Wish you a nice week and see you next time.